When you approached your brother about writing a film about your family, how did he take that news?
So what's funny is like, I actually think I get my openness, I get a piece of it from my brother as well. So my brother's never been shy about his lifestyle. In fact, he kind of flaunts it. And that was kind of a way to him to sort of exhibit his power. Like he would come home sometimes, and would just not hide like where I've been, what I've been doing. And he would just kind of like be like, yeah, I was over at such and such's house and we were doing this. And, my mom would gasp. She's like, what? What? And he would like kind of like grovel in that to some degree, And so when I was like, hey, I want to make a movie kind of about us, he was like, that's awesome. So he was totally down with it, which is like, so and like really encouraged me to go for it. And it's funny now, I feel like I didn't push the film far enough in a lot of areas. Like there were lots of things I was like, oh man, is this too much? I think this is too much. And my brother would I'd tell him like, hey, I'm gonna put this in the movie. He's like, yeah, so? He's like, you need to push that. And I'd be like, no, I already feel like it's kind of a lot already. And so the actual like back and forth process like that, like he was totally down with it. Like I didn't have to feel like I had to like win him over or anything. Like he was really, really rooting for me, which was crazy because it was kind of the first time I felt in my life. I'm sure he's rooted for me in other areas of my life, but in this particular arena, I felt more than ever that he was cheering for me. And I think that kind of opened me up to him even more, to be like, oh, well, he wants me to do this. He supports me in doing this. And I think that was like a little doorway into the healing process.
When you made that phone call and the number was changed, what was that day like?
It's weird. I almost felt like I was expecting it. And the reason why I say that is because like I sometimes can have a tendency to be very cynical and be extremely pessimistic sometimes. And every single time I'd get off the phone with him, I'd be like, that's probably the last time I'm talking to him. I don't know when I'm talking to him again. And whenever I'd call him and he would answer, I would be shocked. I'd be amazed. I'm like, oh my God, he picked up the phone, he answered my call. Because that historically has never been the case, ever, from anything that we've done. And so I was just like, one of these days I'm gonna call and he's not gonna pick up. Or one of these days I'm gonna call, he's gonna say, don't ever talk to me again. I don't know, maybe. Or something. But so when it happened, I was kind of ready for it. And it didn't really shock me that much. But I was sad. I was sad because like during that probably 6-month process of talking to him back and forth was the most I'd ever talked to him. So it was really cool in that regard because we were actually starting to like develop a rapport, and it kind of felt like we were brothers for a little bit, which was really great. And then that was kind of like suddenly not in my life, and it was painful, but I think for the most part I was prepared.
So did you kind of have this thing in the back of your mind that, well, then maybe I'll hire actors?
Yes, yeah, because also there were a lot of things that I was, as we kept kind of getting closer to the script getting done and actually thinking about the logistics of making a film. Because I think a lot of people, if you don't work in film, you don't realize how long the hours are and just how like crazy it is a lot of times to shoot a film. And so, my brother at the time wasn't exactly totally reliable. So, to have him show up 12 hours a day to shoot something, 10 hours a day, however many long we would shoot for, would have been a stretch for him. It would have been a big challenge for him. And so I was about to start pivoting the conversation to that about like, hey, if we do this and like I have friends come over to shoot this, like you got to show up. You actually have to be there for that and like for a really long time. And like it would be really great if you don't leave in the middle of it to go do something else and come back whenever you feel like it. Like it's going to be pretty hardcore. And I was about to have that conversation with him, and that's around when like we lost touch. And so I kind of knew at some point that like I knew I would be casting other characters anyway. And so the idea of casting him, I did like at the time I was bummed that I would have to do that, but I'm really, really glad that we ended up doing it that way in so many ways, because I think that my brother seeing the film pretty much totally objectively, like another person being him, actually allowed the movie to do more of what it was designed to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if you're in it, it's easy just to look at you in the movie. But if there's someone else portraying you in the movie, it's a totally different experience. It's removed. And so I think he got to experience it that way. Like, he's like, oh, that guy portrays me. That's not me. That's a guy portraying me. And that character is written by that guy. So that must be what he thinks of me. And that's, you know what I mean? And so
Right.
It was like a really fascinating experience, and I wouldn't change it at all now, because I think it worked out great. And like I said, Ray Grady, who plays a version of my brother in the movie, like we kind of became brothers while we were shooting the film, and we have a very sort of like brotherly rapport, and that was something like an unexpected gift from the production, and so that's something I wouldn't change. But it was I wouldn't change a thing. It turned out great.